students. Today I'm going to explain chapter 5 and chapter 6, Around the World in 80 Days. Okay, in the previous chapter, Mr. Fogg and Passepartout and Sir Francis wanted to save Oda. Okay, they have two plans. The first plan wasn't succeeded because they tried to enter the temple while the guards were sleeping. Also, they had a plan which was to make a hole in the wall, but this plan failed because they heard a scream of guards who moved to Oda. Okay, in chapter 5, Sir Francis and Passepartout were disappointed because they couldn't save Oda, and Sir Francis asked Mr. Fogg to leave Oda. Okay, and but Mr. Fogg refused. He refused to leave Oda and he insisted to wait and save the girl. Then Passepartout had an idea. He dressed in Dead Prince clothes, and at the time of burning, he took the girl and ran away. Passepartout made all the Indians thought he was the prince, and after a while, the prince realized that the dead body wasn't the prince. Then they tried to follow Passepartout, but it was too late. They continued the journey with the sleepy lady. Although they saved Oda, but Sir Francis was still worried about the girl, because if they left her in India, they would be caught here and burned here. So they decided to take Oda with them and leave India. Okay, and after that, Mr. Fogg sent Passepartout to buy clothes and some things for Oda, and by the time Oda came back to her senses, and she didn't understand what had happened. Okay, this is the summary of chapter 5 in your booklet, Saving Oda. Mr. Fogg decided to wait till the moment Passepartout sat in branch thinking. Then he had an idea. He dressed the prince's clothes. He made all the Indians think he was the prince. He picked the young lady in his arms and went towards the travelers and asked them to leave. Then they ran towards the elephant, followed by the Indians, who discovered the trick, but they soon escaped. They continued their journey with the sleepy lady. They thought about her future, and if she stayed in India, she soon would be caught and burned, so she must leave India. Answer the following question. Number 1. The old prince wasn't dead after all. Was that true? Because it was Passepartout's plan to save Oda. Why couldn't the girl stay in India? Because if she stayed in India, she would be caught and burned. Number 3. The chance that we are hoping for may come at the last moment. Comment. It was said by Mr. Fogg to his friend when they wanted to leave, as they couldn't save Oda, but Mr. Fogg refused to leave. Okay? After that, we have chapter 6, stopped by the police. Okay? In this chapter, the train was just about to leave Allahabad station. Mr. Fogg gave the Indian guide the money that he had promised him. Okay? And he also gave him the elephant as a gift for his loyalty. Then, after that, they took the train and to the town which is called Penance. This town was 80 miles away from Allahabad, and during this journey, okay, the girl returned completely to her senses. After that, they told her the whole story. Then she thanked them all, but she was worried about her future. She was afraid. So Mr. Fogg decided to take her to Hong Kong to her uncle, okay, to be safe. Then the train stopped and Sir Francis left them wishing him good luck. And after that, they continued to reach Calcutta. When they reached Calcutta, Mr. Fogg and Passepartout were arrested. And as Mr. Fogg, an Englishman, he obeyed the policeman. But Passepartout, as a Frenchman, began to complain. But Mr. Fogg stopped him, and asked him to be calm. Mr. Fogg thought that they were arrested because saving Oda. But it wasn't right. It was wrong. They were arrested because what happened in the Malapart temple. The judge were talking about the trouble of Passepartout which he had in Malapart temple. So what were the punishment for Mr. Fogg and Passepartout? Mr. Fogg had to be in prison for 7 days and pay 150 pounds. And Passepartout had to be in prison for 14 days and pay 300 pounds. But Mr. Fogg offered to pay a bail. He offered to pay a bail. And the bail means money to be free. He paid the money to be free, not to put in the prison. And he offered to pay a bail of 1,000 pounds for each one. So he paid 2,000 pounds. And the priests agreed for that and gave the shoes back to Passepartout and let them go away. During that, the detective was following them. He was happy to find them waiting, but when Mr. Fogg paid the money and set free, he felt sad. Then they went to the steamer, continued their journey. This is a summary of chapter 6, stopped by the police. They arrived at Allahabad. Mr. Fogg gave the Indian the money. He also gave him the elephant as a gift for his loyalty. Then the 3 men and the lady took the train to Pinner's village, miles from Allahabad. During this journey, the woman returned completely to her senses. They told her the whole story. She thanked them all. Mr. Fogg offered to take her to Hong Kong. She accepted gratefully. Sir Francis left them when the train stopped and wished them good luck. They continued in the train to reach Calcutta. Before the train left, a policeman came and asked Mr. Fogg to follow him. They reached the police station. There was a judge. Passepartout was arrested because of what had happened in Pillaja Temple, and Mr. Fogg was arrested for being his master. They were about to be taken to prison, but as they didn't know the laws, they are going to pay money. He paid a bail of 1,000 pounds for each one. The detective was following them. He was happy to find them waiting, but said that they paid the money and set free. They went to the steamer and to continue their journey. Answer the following question. Number 1. What was the punishment for the 2 men, Mr. Fogg and Passepartout? Mr. Fogg had to be in prison for 7 days and pay 150 pounds. Passepartout had to be in prison for 14 days and pay 300 pounds. Number 2. What misunderstandings was there between Mr. Fogg and the judge in Calcutta? Mr. Fogg thought that they were arrested because saving Oda, but the judge was talking about the trouble of Passepartout in Malapart temple. Why was Fix disappointed? Because he wanted to stop them for some time until the warrant would come to arrest him. Thank you for today. Goodbye and good luck.